Hi everyone, welcome back to Pokemon Draft League. In this video, we're going to be talking about speed tiers and what you should be looking for in a roster when it comes to speed tiers. Um, so we have our checklist here, and we're going to be going over these last 2 points. And to demonstrate that, we're going to be going over a couple examples of situations when it comes to team building. First, we're going to be talking about why speed matters. Obviously, in an actual battle, speed matters because uh, whoever has a higher speed stat will go first, which is a big shocker. Um, but speed also matters in draft because in the team building process, your opponent knows exactly what to prep for, compared to a format like doubles or general singles, where you have to prep for the entire meta of Pokemon that's happening. Your opponent um, not only knows the 10 to 12 Pokemon you have, but you guys are very rarely going to have Pokemon with the same speed stat, which means uh, they know exactly how to build it to outspeed your Pokemon. And I'm going to bring this up in 300 level videos, but every investment that you put into speed is an investment you are not spending on offense or defense. So I'm going to exemplify that point with a couple examples. So first, let's imagine that these six Pokemon on the left are our, say, like mini roster. This is very simplified. On the right side, we have one Salamence, who is our opponent. I guess that's all they're bringing. It has 100 base speed. So the question is, how much should Salamence invest into speed to guarantee outspeed the rest of our team? Um, Now, you probably don't need to know the exact numbers, but I have a screenshot in the next slide. So the fastest Pokemon on our side is Luxray, base 70 speed. And a max speed Luxray, meaning 252 EVs plus a speed boosting nature, means that Luxray can hit 262 speed, which is okay. But for Salamence, who's base 100 speed, it does not have to do a lot to guarantee get higher than 262 speed. You can see it only needs 108 EVs to hit 263. And what that means is that, first of all, it has 144 EVs that can place wherever else it wants, or 148, I'm sorry. Um, so Salamence is now suddenly a lot more bulky. Not only that, but Salamence can afford to run a attack boosting nature. Natures can boost stats by 10%. And since Salamence has 135 attack, that boost is going to be quite big. Meaning that if Salamence has Earthquake here, Luxray is not going to have a fun time. Next, this title is a little misleading, but now we have a lot of fast Pokemon. We got the fastest Pokemon in the game. We have Electro, Jolteon, and this, I guess, technically old version of Salamence called Roaring Moon. And the bottom, we have a couple other Pokemon. We swapped out Luxray for Toxtricity. The question still remains, how much speed should Salamence invest? Now, if we look at Roaring Moon, which is the next highest Pokemon to Salamence, a max speed Roaring Moon hits 370, which is quite a bit more than what Salamence can hit, only 328. So if we're looking up, we're going to think, okay, unless Roaring Moon is running like zero speed, it doesn't matter how much speed I invest. Even if I run max speed, Roaring Moon is going to be faster. If we go a tier down, though, Toxtricity's next speed stat is 273, um, which is a little bit better than Luxray's, but the same situation remains as the last example, where Salamence has to invest a little more, 152, but it still has 104 EVs it can spend on whatever it wants. In this case, I put it into special defense because Toxtricity is a special attacker. And again, it can afford to run the Adamant Nature while still outspeeding it. So again, Salamence has a move that's super effective. Toxtricities is going to be kind of done for. All right, so for this final example here, we have a little closer speed tiers. We really like dragons, I guess. In this top row, we've added Garchomp at 102 speed, and we have Haxorus at 97 speed. So, final time. How much speed should Salamence invest? Um, well, for the Garchomp, it's going to be the same exact situation as Roaring Moon. Maybe you could predict Garchomp to run Adamant, in which Salamence cannot speed, but we're going to assume that Garchomp wants to run max speed. Um, so we're going to go one step down. We're going to go to Haxorus. Sorry, there's an alarm. And we see Haxor's max speed is 322, which is awfully close to the max speed of Salamence. So what that means is that technically, yes, Salamence cannot speed Haxorus, but it has to invest almost max speed in order to do it. It has 232 speed EVs, and it has to run the Jolly Nature. So even though Haxorus technically is going to be slower, first of all, Salamence is going to be more frail than the previous examples. It just can't invest the same amount into HP defense, special defense. And second of all, preventing Salamence from running an attack boosting nature could be the difference between Salamence getting a clean KO on a Pokemon and then starting a Moxie sweep, I guess, in this case, versus just barely having the us live on like a sliver of HP and then knocking it back out. Um, so this was the very simplified explanation I had, but for your opponent, they have 10 to 12 Pokemon. All of them are likely going to have different speed tiers. They're not going to be all 100 base speed, which brings us to the main point, which is that speed really matters. Specifically, you want to try to get a diverse range of speed tiers in order to force your opponent to run speed on their Pokemon, both in their EVs and to prevent the attack boosting natures. Um, Usually this can be done by drafting Pokemon with speed tiers about like 10 to 15 points apart from each other. Along with that, you want to make sure your Pokemon aren't too slow, and getting at least two Pokemon with 110 or more base speed is a pretty safe bet, especially uh, if your Pokemon or if your opponent has Pokemon like Meowscarada or Greninja, Weavile, Pokemon that hit like the 120 base speeds. Um, Obviously, there's going to be a lot of nuances here. If your Pokemon's exceptionally low, by exceptionally low, I guess I mean below 70 speed, it can still kind of matter. But those Pokemon tend to have more bulk and they try to lean into that more. Um, Obviously, it varies by game. Um, what's also important is that you shouldn't just get a Pokemon for its speed tier. The point is that you should get Pokemon that you want to use, and your opponent has to see it as a threat. So, on this right-hand side, we have the example. This is someone's roster. I forget whose it is. It's not from our games. But in this middle to high section, we have Azelf at 115 speed. We have Toedscruel at 100 speed. We have Haunter at 95 speed, and we have Dragonite at 80 speed. So in theory, it was okay. We have 15 speed gap here. We have 5 here. We have 15 here. Um, but what he ended up finding is that Haunter never really ended up doing well in any of his games. So he didn't really want to bring it. And Toadscore, even though it has 100 base speed, um, the points were used as like a status Pokemon. And if you guys know about Toedscruel, its ability makes him always go last if it's using a status move. So for his opponents, um, they didn't really care about Haunter or Toedscruel. If they were faster than Azelf, they tried to outspeed Azelf. But if they're slower than Azelf, they try to go faster than Dragonite, which is a pretty big jump. Um, so as a reminder, like just use Pokemon that you want to use. Hopefully they're powerful enough that your opponent will try to outspeed it, and thus invest those EVs, run speed boosting natures. And that's everything I have on speed. There's going to be more videos on how to properly build speed. I think it's one of the 300 level videos. But that's everything I have for now. And I'll see you later.